"You're so mature for your age." They said it like it was a compliment, like a gold star, like proof that you were special. But what they didn't see was what it cost you to become that way. Because children don't become mature on their own. They adapt. They learn to read the room. They learn when to stay quiet. They learn how to carry emotions that were never meant to be theirs. And that's where our story begins. Some children grow up too fast, not because they want to, but because they have to. They become the emotional anchor in the family, the peacemaker, the listener, the one who understands. In psychology, this is called emotional parentification. It happens when a child is unconsciously assigned the role of an adult, managing emotions, mediating conflict, or providing stability for caregivers who couldn't provide it themselves. There's no ceremony, no announcement, just a quiet shift where the child realizes, I can't fall apart, everyone else already has. And so the child steps up. They become reliable, responsible, hyper-aware. They learn that love is earned through usefulness, that safety comes from control, and that their needs are inconvenient. This child is praised, admired, trusted beyond their years. But inside, something fractures. Because while the world sees strength, the nervous system is still that of a child holding adult weight. Fast forward into adulthood. The mature child grows up, but the role never really ends. They're the one who handles everything, the one people lean on, the one who rarely asks for help. They're independent to a fault, self-sufficient, capable, but also exhausted. They feel guilty resting, uneasy when things are calm, uncomfortable being taken care of, because their body learned early, if I stop holding it together, everything falls apart. This is where hyper-independence is born, not as confidence, but as survival. Trust feels dangerous. Dependence feels weak. Needing someone feels like failure. So they overfunction in relationships. They anticipate needs before they're spoken. They give and give and give, hoping, quietly, that one day someone will notice how tired they are. And then there's people-pleasing, not because they're nice, but because conflict once felt catastrophic. Disappointment felt unsafe. Anger felt unpredictable, so they learned to stay agreeable, flexible, emotionally invisible. They became who others needed them to be, but somewhere along the way, they lost track of who they were. This kind of childhood doesn't always leave visible scars. There may have been food on the table, a roof overhead, even moments of laughter, which makes the pain harder to name. Because how do you grieve a childhood that looked fine from the outside, but felt lonely on the inside? Psychologist Alice Miller called these children gifted, not because they were lucky, but because they were forced to adapt. And adaptation is not the same as healing. Unprocessed responsibility doesn't disappear. It lives in the body, in the nervous system, in the constant low-level tension. That's why so many adults who grew up too fast struggle with anxiety, burnout, or a deep sense of emptiness they can't explain. They were never allowed to just be, only to perform, to manage, to survive. So what does healing look like? It doesn't mean blaming parents or rewriting the past. It means acknowledging the truth, that the child inside you was brave, but also overwhelmed. That strength was learned, not chosen, and that you are allowed to put the armor down. This is where shadow work begins, gently meeting the parts of yourself that were never given space, the anger you swallowed, the sadness you postponed, the playfulness you outgrew too soon. Inner child healing isn't about becoming weak, it's about becoming whole, learning that rest is not laziness, that needs are not burdens, and that being held doesn't make you fragile, it makes you human. Reconnecting with the child you never got to be is not a single moment, it's a series of small permissions. Permission to say no, permission to ask for help, permission to feel without fixing, permission to let someone else be strong, so you don't always have to be. If this video stirred something in you, know this: your maturity was never the problem. The silence around your pain was. You were strong because you had to be, but you don't have to live that way forever. It's never too late to come home to yourself. If this spoke to your soul, consider liking, sharing, or subscribing. Someone else might need these words the way you did. You're not alone, and healing doesn't mean going backward. It means finally moving forward, without carrying the weight of a childhood that asked too much of you.